ECU? Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday, November 19th. We're 3 days out from East Carolina taking on the UTSA Roadrunners in another pivotal American Conference game. Pirates on the hardwood last night fall in pretty difficult fashion, 85-60, 25-point differential at UNC Wilmington inside Trask Coliseum. We'll get into that as well. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you got a question, comment, a concern, drop it in the chat. We will get to it. We'll also react to the latest college football playoff rankings because as we sit here on Wednesday, November 19th, they do have a pretty direct impact potentially on ECU as the Pirates are still alive for an American Conference championship. And in many ways, it's starting to look more and more like the American Conference champion, as we discussed on Tuesday's show, is going to be the team to get in for that last group of five playoff spot. So we'll talk about that, the ramifications of that, and so much more. Philip Pilkington is producing today, trying to figure out our camera issues. ECU last night, we'll start with basketball. We're going to go ahead and get the bad part out of the way. I was hopeful 10 minutes into the game as I sat inside Trask Coliseum. ECU, 6.5-point dogs, hit 5 of their first 11 three-pointers. Always a great atmosphere in Trask. You had legends on hand, Trey Savage, Cliff Goblin, Kevin Keats, Jerry Wainwright, all in the building for the contest. ECU was leading 22-16. And then the Pirates started missing some shots. UNCW got hot, and basically the rest was history. They rolled 25-point win. ECU finishes the game. Remember, they start 5 of 11 from 3, finished 7 of 25, 28% from distance. Pirates didn't get to the free throw line a whole lot, only 14 attempts. UNCW doubled that up. They get to the free throw line 28 times. They beat ECU on the glass by 10. ECU dealt with foul trouble. UNCW shoots 50% from 3, 14 of 28. And the Pirates just look overwhelmed. Jay Shane Woodard again out, which was significant, but I don't think either him or Trevor LeBeau was going to make up a 25-point differential. So ECU now 2-2 on the season. Unfortunately, it's looking like it may be a very long season unless some major improvements are made. And I don't know. It's just one of those things. There was a very good investment in the team this offseason. It's hard to replace an R.J. Felton. It's hard to replace a C.J. Walker. But ECU's going through it right now on the basketball front, Phillip. And they'll get Charleston Southern on Friday at home. But then it's off to Fort Myers. We just saw what Michigan State did last night. If ECU doesn't find some answers pretty quickly, it's going to get even uglier.
Yeah, man. You know, the interesting thing about that, too, I think, you mentioned they didn't get to the line quite like they wanted to. It seems like in their success story so far this season, they have attempted a lot of free throws, and they've done a really good job at making those free throws. And with the inability to get to the line last night, they attempted more threes than they'd attempted any other game. And like you said, they were falling there for a while. And I remember, I want to say it was like just before the under 12 media timeout. We were up by like 5 points. And you were feeling pretty good. It was like if this team can continue to shoot the ball like this, this could be a dogfight. And then all of a sudden, Wilmington hit those 2 threes going into the under 12 media timeout, or it might have been the under 8 media timeout. I can't remember. It was one of those middle media timeouts. And it was like, oh, now the momentum's their way. Let's see if we can come out of this and do something to get it back, whether it be a live ball turnover with an easy layup, whether it be a 3 to quiet the crowd. And that moment never happened. All of a sudden you look up, you're down by 12 or whatever it is at that point. And then much like the Richmond game where you had that drought midway through the first half in a game you were in, you go on the drought, you get down double digits, and then you're never able to recover. The difference was the Richmond game, they kind of were able to trade blows the rest of the way and keep it manageable. This game, it was just like a kind of death by 1,000 cuts where it just kind of like Wilmington just slowly increased the lead as the time went on throughout the second half.
Yeah, and look, we're already getting a lot of big picture comments about the state of the program. Zach saying there needs to be some receipts shown for how the NIL money for basketball was spent. The money could have made a tremendous impact to other areas. Also, people talking about a buyout. Look, and I get it. To me, UNCW, tremendous basketball tradition, tremendous basketball program. But given the investment with ECU basketball right now, look, I know there's people listening like ECU basketball is a joke. It's always been a joke. Why are we talking about it? ECU basketball, ECU is investing in men's basketball more than it ever has. And last year, 19 wins was a very, very, very positive step for the program. But there was more investment made to try to take even a further step. And look, we're 4 games in. Mike Schwartz, one thing is about his team that have been pretty true over his 3-4 years are they do get better throughout the season, but they have so much improvement to make, and it just looks like they've, early on at least, missed on some key additions. We'll see how it plays out over time. So, look, if this type of play continues, there's going to be some hard questions asked. I think most people within the program realize that. I'm going to give them some time to try to get together, but it's not looking positive right now, and it's one of those things that I do think it's fair to question, how was this money spent? If ECU needs to continue investing in basketball, I firmly believe that because I've mentioned before, if you want to get to a bigger conference, you got to solve the basketball issue, unless you're just going to be elite in football year in and year out. And realistically, that's not possible. Kenneth says we have got to fix this multiple decade-long basketball problem. They have not been to the NCAA tournament since 1993. I was in middle school. Not only have they not been, they haven't sniffed it. I mean, they haven't even been close. So I like Schwartz's vision for the program. I like Mike Schwartz as a person. Again, we'll see how this year develops. But at some point, I'm with the people that if you're going to invest in the program, you got to get a return on that investment. So I think we're going to have a lot of big picture discussions as this season unfolds. Philip, is the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, we will. And, there's 2 ways to look at how the last few games have gone on. You can look at it positively and say, well, when we did our preseason preview, yourself, Steven, me, Isaiah, and I think a lot of the fans, we had this current record, right? So technically, everything that and you're judged on wins and losses. Everything that we thought was going to happen so far has. They have not been upset in any games. Now the tough thing is you're 1 point away from being upset.
It's looked a little bit different than how I imagined.
And you lost by, was it 35 last night? What did it mean, 85 to 50?
85 to 60,
okay.
The second largest
25, that's right.
The second largest margin of defeat in the history of the series, dating back to 1977. So
look, I'm all for the big picture discussions, but I at least, look, we've doubted Coach Schwartz before, and he has come through. So I'm going to give them through Friday night. Now, this Charleston Southern team scored 61 last night in the first half, and they were not playing a D2 school. Yeah, they were playing Indiana, Purdue, University, Indianapolis, whatever the hell it's called, IUPUI, which I think they've even changed it. Now there's not as many letters this year. And they ended up scoring over 100 in the game. So Charleston Southern is going to come here, and everybody says, oh, is it Wilmington's Super Bowl? No, winning this game would be Charleston Southern's Super Bowl. So let's see what happens Friday night. If they go out there, they win this game by 15 or 20 points, I'm okay to keep punting on these conversations. We'll see what happens Tuesday against Sparty. We'll keep punting on these conversations. But if you lose Friday night, now you got to start having some conversations.
Pirate 2031 saying the 1-year extension for Mike Schwartz is maddening. And look, we asked John Gilbert about that when he was on the show. We talked about it. He got the 1-year extension, 19 wins. We talked about the metrics with the net, very similar to what Joe Dooley did, although the wins were there. What do the metrics say? That's a whole other conversation, but it is a fair question. And Schwartz, definitely has at least he's got 2 more years left after this season on his current deal. And look, I hope he gets turned around. But the Pirates, it's not looking good through 4 games thus far. Johnny with a good question here. We'll address this, and then we'll get to a break so we can get to some football. He says the Pirates' average time possession is 15.5 seconds, which is top 20% in the country. Why are they not playing slower, trying to get the ball into the paint more? Coach Schwartz did say after the game that this team has to find an identity. And I do agree they do have an identity crisis right now. They went into the season, we talked about it, they wanted to play big. I think, obviously starting at 4 like Eli DeLaurier or Reed Kaysen next to Giovanni Imajuru, I think that's how they would like to play. But as Coach Schwartz mentioned last night, you're playing a lot of teams right now with stretch 4s, more really 3 guys at the 4 than a true 4, and so you're giving up that perimeter defense. That's hurting them on the defensive end, and they're trying to play fast because they've got Jordan Riley, they've got Corey Calker, guys who can run. And as much as I hate to say it, I kind of agree with Johnny. Slow it down and muck it up now. I mean, I just don't think this style of play right now is working. Maybe they can reassess when they play bigger teams, Phillip, but I do think that's a valid point. They got to find some sort of identity.
No, I don't feel bad to agree with Johnny. Because here's the thing. We said this going into the season. We said there's Jordan Riley, and then you've got a bunch of guys who you think are good role players, high IQ guys you hope we're going to turn the ball over, which 2 games ago that wasn't the case. And, I said it coming into the year, if this team was playing pre-shot clock era and they could try and run a set and realize things were not going and reset, they could be a really good basketball team. They've got to find the guys who can go get a basket late in the shot clock. But the point is, I never thought this team should have been a fast-paced team. When you don't have true scorers and you've got bigs who are solid players but are not guys who are Cameron Boozer out there, you've got to play slow. You've got to pick and roll. You've got to work the inside-out game. I want this to be one of the slower teams in the country. I think that's the only way they're successful, and there's nothing wrong with being a slow team. There's nothing wrong with that saying, hey, that's how we're successful, because every team has an identity. Every good team has an identity. And, hell, Virginia won a national championship playing slow. So what I'm saying is there's no shame in being a slow team. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think this roster is built to be a slow team. Why not go be a slow team? I think you are going to find way more success being slow.
Well, it's kind of weird because you got Jordan, who's, to me, dynamic in transition, and Jay Shane as well.
But that's fine in transition. There's a difference in transition and just running and gunning when they got all 5 guys back and trying to get a shot up in the first, what did Johnny say, 15 seconds?
15 seconds. So they got to find that balance, So I think it's a valid point. I think Coach Schwartz kind of wrestled with that after the game. Joe Askew says, how much money do we put in our basketball program compared to UNCW? I don't know UNCW's numbers. I do know the vast majority, maybe all of it, of their rev share goes to men's basketball. They don't have football, but I know ECU's put well over $1 million into this roster per my sources. I'd be surprised if UNCW had more. Maybe I'm wrong there, but at least comparable, I would think. So I'm with the people that look. You losing to UNCW is completely fine. Obviously, you want to win the game, but like going in there and just not being competitive is not ideal. So, again, hat tip to UNCW. Great atmosphere, great program. Takeo Siddle, great coach. Really, really fun system they play. And they played well last night and beat ECU handily. All right, let's get a break in. We'll continue to talk basketball throughout much of the winter, but just want to recap that game last night. Pirates lose 85-60. On the other side, we'll get into the college football playoff rankings because it pertains to ECU in several fronts. We'll get into that discussion. We also have Kevin Monroe set to join us as well around 12:30. We'll continue on Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Pirates play here.
Time to play the game!
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. On a Wednesday, we talk hoops. Segment 1, Pirates fall big at UNCW. We'll get more into basketball as the winter commences. But we're going to get into some football now. Pirates at UTSA this weekend. We'll talk to Greg Luca on Thursday's show. He covers UTSA in San Antonio, so we'll get an insider perspective on UTSA. Also just posted our film study with Bobby Harward, who will join us on Friday's show. He dove deep into UTSA on hoistthecolors.net, so if you're a subscriber, check that out. Great read on what they present on the football field. The latest college football playoff rankings are out, and you may be asking, how does this pertain to ECU? Why does this matter? Well, it matters in multiple ways because Philip Pilkin and Back Producing. You remember all the stuff I told you that you probably couldn't process yesterday about why Navy needed to win? You remember all that?
Yes. My Kaysen and I were sitting here with our heads spinning.
None of that matters now because Tulane is ranked. Basically, everything I threw doesn't matter unless Tulane was unranked. They are in the CFP top 25 ahead of North Texas. Why that matters is because all the computer metrics I was talking about, ECU could have jumped Tulane. Instead, Tulane's in the CFP top 25, and in the tiebreaker process, the CFP top 25 rankings is right behind head-to-head in a multi-team tie. So Tulane, if the season ended today and you had this tie at the top, Tulane will be moving to the conference championship and most likely North Texas due to the computer rankings. So that is why it matters from an American perspective. Also why it matters is this is basically the committee telling James Madison, you're not good enough to make the college football playoff. It is a sheer – I mean, look at it now. They've had Memphis in the projected field. Memphis loses. What do? USF jumps up. USF loses. What happens? Tulane jumps up. They clearly value the American over the Sun Belt. And again, it's no disrespect to James Madison. I think they're a really good team. I think they could compete at the top of the American, but the Sun Belt is not good. I know you had some numbers you saw, Phil. I don't know if you have those on you. I can try to pull up that tweet, but this
let me grab them.
Okay, this to me is a clear sign that the committee is going to do everything they can to recognize and reward the American champion, specifically because the American continues to win power conference games.
Yeah, so here's the out-of-conference record for every team when they're playing schools from a Power 4 conference or they're playing Notre Dame. The top three are the SEC, the Big 12, and the Big 10. The American is fourth. They have a higher winning percentage and more wins than the ACC. They've actually played less games against Power 4 competition out of conference than the ACC and have more wins than the ACC. American is 6-11, ACC 5-15, Mountain West 4-12, Sun Belt 1-16. So that right there is the reason that the committee is not viewing JMU's 124th strength of schedule as good enough to make the college football playoff.
And so the real question becomes, does this still apply if Tulane – this kind of gets back into what we ran yesterday with the Cover 3 podcast. If Tulane gets knocked off, or if – let's say Tulane continues to run the table. They're in the top 25 until the conference championship. But if North Texas loses, if ECU jumps North Texas and wins out, does this still apply? If ECU goes to Tulane in the conference championship and wins there, do they jump up ahead and keep JMU? I personally think so, based on what the committee's doing. Now, ECU doesn't have the Power 4 wins. They have the losses to NC State and BYU. But in this scenario, or in North Texas' scenario, if North Texas was to beat Tulane, I think regardless of kind of what happens going forward, I think James Madison's shut out. To me, that's what the committee is saying with these rankings. Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. The question becomes, let's go hypothetical here. Let's say Temple beats Tulane this week. Tulane doesn't play in the game. Therefore, the team that wins doesn't beat Tulane. You know, North Texas is really high by these metrics, but let's go hypothetical here. Let's say North Texas loses, and it's Navy against ECU.
Which, by the way, would be in Daddy
Would probably be here, yeah. So are you going to give ECU a home win against Navy as the reason to put them in over JMU with only one loss? That's where it becomes weird. I know people want to host a conference championship game, but I think if you want to play for a national championship, that might not be the way to go. I think the most realistic way for the American to get in the college football playoff outside of Tulane is a team that wins the conference beating Tulane.
Right, because then you would have the marquee top 25 win.
You would.
So.
And, you know, and I even think maybe beating North Texas could be enough, or North Texas just being the team be enough, but it really worries me if it's Navy and ECU, you know, especially with how bad Navy looked against
Notre Dame. I guess then it would just become, does the committee, based upon the numbers you read, like with the Power 4, I mean, is it time to even call it the Power 3? Like the ACC can barely even beat those teams, by the way.
I mean
the ACC is not good.
The ACC's team that gets in will be a bid stealer in the fact that they will not be ranked in the top 12 in the college football playoff rankings. They will get in the same reason, insert team here, whether it be American or JMU, gets in, is the fact that the top 5 college champion or conference champions, get in. That's the only reason the ACC is going to get a seat at this table. So, I mean, I think right now it's either, you know, time to, like you said, call it a Power 3, or expand this thing and give everybody a seat at the table like every other sport in college athletics does, and every other division of college football, including the Division I FCS level where every conference champion gets in. So I think one or the other has got to happen here.
Yeah. Or we can just go back to calling it the Power 5, include the American. If the ACC is going to be included, the American this year, at least for this year, it looks like – I just think the league with the out-of-conference wins, and look, you can nitpick who did they really beat, but still, you're beating teams. USF goes to Florida, wins. How good is Florida? Not very good, but they're investing $20 million. They have the talent that you're going to see in the playoff, the raw talent. Same with Arkansas. And obviously Tulane beating a Duke and beating Northwestern handily. And, I think the American has just established itself as the clear-cut best Group of 5 conference. And to me, I almost think the committee's like, all right, just whoever wins the league, we're putting in. They deserve a spot. But we just don't know that for sure as we sit here.
Do you want to read this tweet that just got texted to us?
Yeah. What was sent to us?
Okay, so Kaysen sent us a tweet from John Solikoloff. I don't know.
Probably not their... Yeah, it kind of looks like the pronunciation.
Yeah. Anyways, he said, just asked college football playoff chair Hunter, another last name I can't pronounce, Juraskic.
Arkansas AD, I believe, who's, by the way, running a coaching search currently.
Yeah. Why he felt that Tulane was the most deserving Group of 5 team of a top 25 spot. He said the American is a really good conference, really top-heavy. Look at Tulane's schedule. They went outside and they played 3 P4 schools, Ole Miss, Northwestern, and Duke. Oh, wait, I think that it continues. Sorry, I didn't click onto it. And won 2 of those games. A very impressive win at Memphis and a win versus ECU, who has come on as of late.
Pirates are coming on.
That's the thing. So if he says the conference is top-heavy, he mentions, I mean, we already knew Memphis was viewed to the top, but he mentions ECU, which means something to us, but I just want to say he mentions one of those other 3 teams that we're having a conversation about right now, and it's not the team who's the next highest according to all these computer metrics in North Texas. That gives you somewhat hope, but again, he's only one guy in the room.
Yeah. Sun Belt has 1 win over Power 14. That was Old Dominion at Virginia Tech, which led
Does that even count?
I mean, yeah, exactly. That led to their coach getting fired. But that's the 1 win. And JMU's best win is Old Dominion, which is a solid team, but that's your best win. That's not a great look. Jonathan says the American Conference show called the ECU versus UTSA matchup the biggest in the American this week. A lot of eyes on us this week. He says a great chance to draw more national attention. Too bad the game's on ESPN Plus. I mean, that's not a shot at you, Jonathan. That's a shot at ESPN execs.
I guess what they did was because ECU, due to these computer metrics, does have less of a chance than Tulane and North Texas, who did get the 2 nationally televised games. Like, I do get that, but also, like, I can understand Tulane and Memphis getting it over us because Tulane's on the road, but the fact that they really have never lost a home conference game under Jeff Traylor, I know we keep pounding that home, and ECU, to the point of the chair of the College Football Playoff Committee, has come on as of late.
We're just going to say that like as much as possible.
We are. We're going to hound it.
Coming on.
People are going to get tired of hearing us say it, but you know what?
Hey,
that's what we do. We talk to annoy people.
We got to mention, and by the way, nobody can ever take away that ECU in the first ever college football playoff poll in 2014 was ranked, and the Pirates were in that poll, and I don't think they've been ranked since. So, but they're coming on.
Damn it, Matt Rule.
Darn Matt Rule. Some more comments here. We got to get a break in soon to get to Kevin. Kenneth adds that we beat UTSA in the Alamo Dome. We would get quite a few more votes in the AP poll. Says a lot when the CFP chair mentions ECU, as we just talked about. Ryan says we would be true road warriors having to win 3 in a row, talking about if the Pirates have to go on the road again for the conference championship if they win the next 2. Yeah, that'd be a tough. And then you'd have to go on the road for the college football playoff. That'd be even tougher.
At least you'd have a bye week in there, though.
Johnny Robertson says Pirates take care of business, get a bit of help, and win the American. Then they draw number 5 Ole Miss, but Lane Kiffin is in Baton Rouge recruiting for his new team, and the Rebels are without their head coach. Dream scenario. Joel says whoever wins the American will have a win that connects them to the college football playoff field with real results, not just data/metrics. As he's talking about JMU's metrically high, but not as high as the American champ. And Kenneth says the only path for JMU to make the playoff is to join the American, which will not happen this season, of course. And, yeah, look, if ECU was in JMU's shoes, I would be very frustrated as well. So I don't blame them for being upset. It's just the reality of the situation is when you play in a bad conference, the Sun Belt is not good this year. Coastal is one of the best teams in the Sun Belt. ECU beat them 38-0 on the road.
And that's why, and I know people don't want to hear it, especially the high-ups at the other schools, at the big schools. But why have we expanded this thing and not given everybody a seat at the table? Because, again, you can't help what conference you're in. And, you know, when it comes to college basketball, when it comes to college, insert any single sport here, you can't, if you win your conference, or especially if you go undefeated, you've done nothing wrong. So who is anybody to say you don't get a shot to play for a national championship? Yes, I understand that college football is way different than every other sport. I do get that. You're not having a school like Butler, you know, or their level. I know Butler doesn't have a football team, but making the national championship game. But still, like, I think if a young man goes out there and wins every single football game, or darn near every single football game, and runs state with the conference, he deserves a shot to play. I mean, we're doing it in high school.
Yeah.
We do it at the FCS level, do it at the D2 level, give him a shot. I mean, I have no problem with this thing expanding to 16 or 24 to make sure everybody gets a shot.
James Madison, if they go 12-1, and dominate every game except Louisville, they probably deserve to get in. I mean, it can't be a playoff if not every conference champ gets in, but that's a whole other conversation.
Well, like you said, you use keyword they're dominate. It's not like they're out there squeaking by in these games. Like Coach Logan always says, good teams beat bad teams badly. Well, they're beating bad teams badly.
Yep. So, look, I'm not against JMU. Obviously, if it comes down to ECU, JMU, I want to see the Pirates in the playoff, but we got a lot to happen. Again, the projected bracket as of last night, Notre Dame going to Oklahoma, Tulane going to Texas Tech, Alabama going to Oregon, Miami, which is on the outside looking in, but the projected ACC title champion, going to Ole Miss as the 6, and then Ohio State the 1, Indiana the 2, A&M the 3, Georgia the 4, getting the buys. So Cliff Notes version, good news for ECU that the American is ranked in the former Tulane. Bad news for ECU in terms of potential tiebreakers. But Pirates, of course, got to win at UTSA to stay alive for a conference title chase. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll visit with Kevin Monroe on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Ready to board.
We're live with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. We're 3 days out from ECU heading to UTSA. Big game in the Alamo Dome. Pirates coming off a huge win over Memphis, the home finale inside Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium, and it was the final regular season home game. I guess there's always a chance the Pirates could host the conference championship technically, but Kevin Monroe, most likely his last home game on the call. He joins us now. And Kevin, man, what a way for you to go out, obviously with Marcus going to Stanford for your final home game for sure at Dowdy-Ficklin. So just, I don't know, how do you describe what you saw unfold on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. I think we all knew with the Pirates being favored by like 3 or so that it was going to be a tough, close game. Usually those prognosticators are pretty spot on with that stuff. And so, coming in, I was watching in pregame. I was watching Brendan Lewis and just thinking, man, that guy can't go today. Like, he's hobbling everywhere. And sure enough, he takes the first offensive snap of the game for Memphis and just gutted it out. I mean, the guy had a couple scramble runs. He ran for a touchdown. He threw the ball, well for the most part of the game, and really made it tough on the Pirates. I was kind of hoping that, one of those backups would play and take some pressure off. So, I mean, to have the Pirates, have to go and face him, and obviously he wasn't at his best, but to have to face QB1 and cover those fast receivers and hang in that game and play well defensively, but also, what they were able to do offensively with Kate Hauser, for that to go down to the last minute in a 2-minute drill was pretty fantastic. It was a great call for myself and Jim, and I'll definitely remember that game for a long time. There's only a few home games that I'll remember, forever and ever. And, it's beating Pat White, from West Virginia, in Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium. It was Coach Ruff's first home game against Tulsa in the shootout when the big 6'8" receiver catches the Hail Mary touchdown to end the game. It's Damon Magazoo picking off the pass, against Russell Wilson and NC State, to win that game. And then this one, those are the ones that come to mind. Just obviously, we beat Carolina at home as well, and we had the field goal, and I did the holy guacamole. That was pretty cool too. But this is definitely a top 5 one for me.
Visit with Kevin Monroe, ECU Sports Network, longtime analyst. And I saw Marty Fiore at the UNCW ECU basketball game last night. Kevin also obviously was on the call with you and Jeff for several years. Just as you kind of look back at you guys' relationship, just the whole broadcasting time, how can you kind of sum up just that crew, the memories you guys created, and being a part of this thing for so long?
Oh, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I basically, grew up in adulthood with those guys. Like, I was 25, 26 when I got on the air as a sideline reporter. And all those guys were, much, much older, in their 40s or so at that time. And so I would go to dinner with them. I'd go by Jeff's room late at night to go over two deep depth charts and learn how to come in when he says these things, wait and come in. They taught me those first couple of years. And just, we went to dinner a ton, and it was so funny because I was always excited about going on road trips, thinking that we were going to go to all the cool steakhouses and stuff. And Jeff Charles, we just wanted to go to Denny's or Wendy's or somewhere like that, and it would just be hilarious. And so eventually, I was like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna find something to eat on my own and stop going to dinner with them." But it was just, those are some of the best times. And Marty, Marty was just the best. The fact that he was on the sideline for so many years, had gone up in the booth to be the booth host, and then when I became the color commentator, and I don't know who it was at the time, maybe IMG came in to take over, they sent Marty back down to the sideline, and he took that with such grace, and it was a cool thing, and so Marty was one of the first people I texted when it was time to say it was my last game. I'm the one that told him about Jeff Charles's passing. I had to reach out to him to let him know what happened. So we've had a really close bond over the years, and it's sad to be walking away from it, and that radio family. And then got to mention Jim and Andrew and Maceo and those guys. And when Jim came in, and he had big shoes to fill. I think he's done a great job. He's not Jeff. He doesn't get as excited as Jeff would get, or doesn't have signature lines like Paint It Purple that Jeff had. But he does it in his own way, and he's a consummate professional and does a great job. And then Andrew, has just been a sponge, just learning from everybody and stepping in and doing a great job. And Macio's a lot like I was, in terms of age-wise, starting out on the sideline. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him too. So it's just been a pleasure to work with all those guys.
Kevin Monroe with us, ECU Sports Network analyst. And Kevin, I kind of said going into the game, it felt like this ECU team, it was kind of building for this moment. Like they had a shot versus State, came up short, had a shot versus BYU, made some mistakes, and then Tulane. It just felt like, all right, we're ready to take that next step as a team, and they kind of did that against Memphis. I don't know, just what was it like seeing that maturation process and coming through in the clutch? Like, we've seen ECU blow teams out this year, but to make the plays with the game on the line in the fourth quarter, this was really the first time we've seen that. So what does that do for this team moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's all the confidence in the world. I mean, what's Blake Harrell now, like 12-4 as a head coach? Like he just gets it. Like, he understands how to walk these guys through these tough moments. And I mean, think about the hard times. Think about the years. Not even really saying, the beginning of last year that was tough, but think about well prior to that, when we go through tough times and have bad years. You always felt like everybody else's scheme was better than ours. You always felt like the offensive coordinators went in at halftime and came up with better ideas than we had, and the defense coordinators came up with better ideas than we had, and we just struggled to make the right adjustments. And it's just frustrating to watch your team get out-schemed. I don't think that happens anymore. I mean, they're in games in the first half, but if they happen to get down behind, they always play better in the second half. And I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. We're outscoring opponent. We're doubling opponent scoring in the second half to what they're scoring. And so that just means that offense is coming out playing well and defense is shutting guys down. And so Josh Aldridge, JDB, like, they make the proper adjustments. They make the right calls. And then Coach Harrell at the helm, like, he just keeps everybody calm. He never gets too excited about when things are going good. He always sees the mistakes and always tries to correct the mistakes. He never gets too down when things are going bad. He keeps people level-headed. And it's just it's starting to show on the field. So you get those games where it's tight. No longer do you feel like, oh, well, this is over. Here we go again. Now you feel like Coach Harrell's going to find a way to win this game. And it showed on Saturday night. I don't have any doubt going forward that's how Pirate fans will feel.
ECU now one of 4 one-loss teams in the American with 2 regular season weeks left to play. Navy 6-1 in the league. North Texas, Tulane, ECU all 5-1 in the league. And it's November 19th, Kevin, but Tulane was in the top 25 of the college football playoff poll. Right now, there's a lot of talk about ECU being a dark horse because if they win the conference, they could potentially get in. I don't know. Like, it's kind of crazy to be having these talks on November 19th, but it's certainly fun. How about you from that perspective?
Oh, there's no question. This late in the season, we're happy if we have the 6th win by now, and we're thinking about what bowl we'll be in. There's never any talk about winning a conference championship. It hasn't been that in a long time here at East Carolina, and so we're a long shot. Everybody knows that, but to be in the conversation and to have the opportunity to potentially play. I mean, any one of these teams can fumble at the end of the season, lose to somebody they shouldn't lose to. So anything can happen. But yeah, it's a great feeling knowing that we are, mid to late November and the Pirates are relevant. The Pirates, I don't know if we got any top 25 votes, but we're at least probably in the top 35 in the country right now, and the way they're playing. And so that part of it is cool, and to know that we've gotten a respect. And I've even seen some publications where people say that we're the best FBS team in the state of North Carolina right now. We obviously lost to NC State, but they've struggled. Now you could argue their schedule is a little bit harder than ours, playing in the ACC, but the Pirates are playing good football, and I think the world is noticing.
Kevin Monroe with us. A few more things for Kevin, and we'll get him out of here on this Wednesday. The game at UTSA, I think ECU has the toughest remaining schedule, obviously 2 road games of any of the contenders. And look, UTSA, they're 24-0, Kevin, in home conference games under Jeff Traylor, counting the 2 Conference USA championships they won back when they were in that league. Now, they did lose to Texas State at home earlier this year, but they're a different animal in the Alamo Dome, so this is a challenge this weekend. I think the good news is Blake can put up that number and put on the tape of the Tulane game and get the team's attention pretty quickly. But what's kind of your vibe going into a challenging road game here?
Yeah, this is a hard team to figure. I think they're 3-3 in the conference, 5-5 overall, something like that. And they've had their ups and downs throughout the season, but they're definitely a quality opponent. I think they're undefeated in the conference at home. And so it's going to be one of those games where they're going to expect to win. And, I think we're small favorites again, as we were, against Memphis. I think that, going in, we should expect to win, but they will too. And they've got a returning quarterback in McCown. He's a confident player, over 2,000 yards passing and 20 touchdowns. So, this is a team that, can very well beat you if you don't give your best, which is a good thing. I think if the Pirates were going to play, a UAB or a team that's maybe towards the bottom of the conference, I think they would, maybe be a little bit overconfident. And, Blake Harrell usually gets teams up for games where they should win. He's done that many times this year. But going on the road with not a packed house, it's just better to play a team that you got to know. You got to play your best to win the game. And I think this will be one of those games where if the Pirates play good, they should win. But if they go and make turnovers, they make mistakes in the kicking game. They're not converting on third downs. They're not getting off the field on third downs. This is the type of game you can easily lose.
Kevin, I thought the secondary, I know they gave up the big run ECU's defense did to Sutton Smith, but I thought the secondary seemed as cohesive as we've seen in a while against Memphis. Like they gave up some short passes, and Lewis was accurate, but they didn't give up the real big explosive. Just what did you notice watching it from the booth?
The technique is getting better, right? Like the thing that just drives me crazy about corners in this day and age is, one, they don't turn and find the football, and so they're always trying to play through the receiver's hands and try to make a play at the last second, and it's just hard to do that. If you have a guy covered, turn and find the football. So guys hadn't been doing that, but also they make silly mistakes. Like you don't try to come underneath and pick off a pass if you don't definitely have that pick. Because if you come underneath and miss it, then it's 6. And we saw that in a couple different games this year. I think Tulsa had a long touchdown on a play like that where a corner came underneath. And so this past game, I saw a couple different times where corners were on the upfield shoulder, safety was coming from the other side, and they had guys bracketed so they couldn't catch these deep passes. And so we've been through this, and I think, the game before, we gave up a couple deep ones to Charlotte. It was better. It was better on Saturday, and I think they're starting to have better technique. I think they're finding the football and starting to stay on the upfield shoulder. And they've got 2 good safeties in Riddle and Wilk to help them out. So I agree. I think that they, the situations that they've been put themselves in and the technique they're playing has gotten better, and hopefully it continues to get better throughout the end of the season.
All right, final thing for you, Kevin. We're quietly two weeks away, basically, from the early signing period. So give us the update. Marcus Monroe obviously committed to Stanford. Is he expecting to sign on that day? What do you guys have planned for that?
Yeah, we'll definitely sign on December 3rd. He's excited about it. Obviously Stanford is the leader in the clubhouse right now. I can't imagine that anything happens to change that. We'll see. I mean, ultimately it's his decision. The wife and I are letting him make a grown-up decision. But he's done a very good job of interviewing these coaches and looking at the facilities and looking at rosters. For instance, Carolina offered him a couple weeks ago, but they've also offered 4 other tight ends in this class. And it's like, why would I already have to compete with juniors and seniors. Why would I compete with 4 other freshmen? So he sees that and he understands, like, I'm going to make the best decision for me, the best opportunity for me to get on the field, the best opportunity for me to maybe play in the NFL one day, the best education, all those things we factored in. But Stanford's definitely the leader in the clubhouse right now.
All right, he is Kevin Monroe, ECU Sports Network analyst. Kevin, glad they could send you out with some heroics, and always great to talk with you, man. We'll keep it rolling through the end of the season as well, but always a pleasure, man.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
That is Kevin Monroe, longtime ECU Sports Network analyst, one of the best in the business. Always great to catch up with Kevin, and looking forward to Marcus signing here in a couple weeks. We'll get a final break in. We'll come back. We will wrap up the show after this.
Hurry to Greenville Toyota for model year-end savings on a Camry. Just $229 a month. $229 a month. Or new RAV4, $279 a month. $279 a month. Only during our model year-end move-out. Right now at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cook-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
It's Greenville Toyota's model year-end move-out. Save on a new Corolla, just $149 a month. $149 a month. Or new Tacoma, $249 a month. $249 a month. Now get them.
Loyal and bold with the purple and golds.
Yo ho ho!
And we're back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Final segment here. Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday. And let's take a look at the American going into the weekend. Interesting schedule. Obviously, we talked about ECU UTSA. That'll be a 3:30 kickoff. If you're looking at the other league games to keep an eye on, the Tulane Temple game, that'll be kicking off at 3:45 shortly after the ECU UTSA game. And then North Texas Rice is that night at 7:30. You also have USF at UAB. You have Charlotte at Georgia. I mean, Philip cooking and producing. Charlotte at Georgia. Have you seen the line on this game?
Oh, no, but I get to guess. Finally get to guess another line.
You do get to guess a line. Give me your best guess.
I'm good at guessing the ECU lines as I'm trying to fix my headphones in here. I'm going to go 40.5.
Solid guess. 43.5.
Wow.
And the total is set at 52.5. So, I mean, I think if I had to lay money, I would take Georgia. I'm not going to touch this spread. It's 43.5. I mean, the whole fact that the SEC just takes this week off is honestly a joke. Like some of the games this week, they all take a week off before rivalry week. It's kind of lame, but that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah, it's a joke. You're right. And, the reason why I'm not touching it, though, is because you do know rivalry weeks next week and you're going to kick the crap out of them. How quickly do you pull the starters?
Yeah, exactly.
Kirby Smart? This isn't early in the season where you need to start. Your starters when we win at football games, you're completely content pulling guys at halftime and winning by 38.
Yeah, this could be easily 35-10 against the backups. So they could get up 35-0 and just put in all the walk-ons. Tulsa at Army. Hey, cash it, baby. Tulsa, 3-win mark.
We got it. Our bet hit.
31-14 over Oregon State.
Sorry, Malik Murphy.
Oregon State might be the worst team in the country, but Tulsa is not because they have 3 wins. They are 0-6 in the American, but Philip and I, if you followed this is why you got to follow our summer opponent previews. You could have made money, folks. You guys could have put the bet with us. Over under 2.5 was the win total for Tulsa. We interviewed Larry Lewis. You know what? That guy is very confident in this Tulsa team. There's no way they're getting less than 3 wins. Bam. Let's go.
See, if you ride it with us, you could be $10 less richer, $10 more richer or less poor, however you want to look at it. Like Steven and I are. Or we're like $9.83 richer than we were going into college football season.
Shout out Trey Lamb. Thank you for helping us earn some money that will quickly be spent and probably lost on another bet. UConn is at FAU. This is why this is look, way into the weeds here. Why should we care about UConn at FAU? FAU is 4-6. You know what another loss does for FAU?
Makes them have nothing to play for next week when they host the Pirates.
Exactly. So we are pulling for UConn here. If FAU is 5-6, coming off a win over UConn, that's a big game for FAU next week. So pull for UConn in this spot. So there's your quick look around the American as we head into the final 2 weeks of the regular season. Lane Smith says, I don't care who makes the playoff. I just hope ECU gets the opportunity to play for a conference championship. And I'm with you there, Lane. Just being in the championship game would be something, playoff or not. It's been way too long. Jay says there's a chance ECU hosts the AAC championship. Yes, there is a chance. Kaysen says Georgia should let Charlotte play with 15 players on the field to make it competitive.
It's bad, but it's true.
How many players would have to play for Charlotte at one time, the entire game, to make it a competitive game?
I mean, realistically, they're Division I football players. If you upped it by 1 or 2, that would make a drastic difference.
I think it would take 15, 16. Either way, we're out of time. Fun discussion. We'll dive more into the slate ahead on Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow we'll really dive into this UTSA matchup on the field. Greg Luca from San Antonio will join us. He covers the Roadrunners. We'll also talk with Macy O'Donnell, talk about those Chiefs losing to my Broncos and Jaquan McMillan. We'll see you at 12 noon on Thursday. Thanks for listening.